Back live with you, National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica, as the Jamaica National Anthem has just concluded. This has been a series that has been dominated, and that is an understatement, by the United States. They have never lost to Jamaica. They have met 3 times previously in World Cup qualifying games. All 3 of those games concluded in 0-0 scores. Take a look at the starting 11 for the United States. They are in a 4-4-2. Casey Keller, U.S. all-time win and shutout leader, will start in the nets.
You can see it's a 4-4-2 system. I think the stress here is definitely organization, and keeping Pope and Bocanegra connected in the middle will be very important today for the United States. Midfield, no real surprises here, but the key is pretty much the relationship between Reyna and Armas. Reyna's going to be expected to create. Armas is supposed to clean up the mess. And up front, these 2 guys know a lot about playing with each other. Number 21, Landon Donovan, and McBride, 20.
On the flip side for Jamaica, also Eric in a 4-4-2. Donovan Ricketts in the nets. He's had some back problems lately. Plays in the 2nd division of England, but he will get the start tonight.
Yeah, the Davis brothers are 2 guys to watch. Goodison is number 5, is a great defender. That's why he's been a part of the Jamaican national team for so long. The midfield, 2 very recognizable people for people in MLS, with number 14, Tyrone Marshall in LA, and Andy Williams, number 9. Look for Andy Williams to do a lot in the midfield today. He's going to try and be their guy to make things happen. And up front, King Ralph, or Ralph King, whichever way you want to say it.
Number 20, Damani Ralph, plays in Major League Soccer, the Chicago Fire. Former MLS Rookie of the Year right now. He has 20 points in the league, 6th most in MLS. A Costa Rican officiating crew today.
Which means advantage United States. And the only reason I would say that is what people don't realize sometimes about Claudio Reyna is that he speaks 3 languages. Costa Rican referees, he can have a better relationship today with the referees and the Jamaicans. Well, let's hope.
United States in the all-white, Jamaica in the yellow. And as we are set to kick off Game 1 of the semifinal stage of CONCACAF qualifying. Here's the head coach for Jamaica, Sebastião Lazzaroni. His 2nd stint, he was briefly with the team in 2000, where he went winless, 0-4-1, stepped down after 2 months, and then was just hired literally days ago. He's had 2 days to be with his team, and of course, across those 2 days, 3 training sessions. There's Bruce Arena in search of his 50th career win as U.S. boss.
I think Bruce Arena said it best today. I mean, this is a very important game to establish what kind of World Cup qualifying this is going to be for the United States, but getting off to a good start is very key.
They want to set the tone early, not only in qualification, but in this game in particular. The U.S. is not going to sit back and hope for a tie. There may be nothing more difficult than to play 90 minutes hoping for a tie. The U.S. is coming out looking for a win, as is Jamaica, obviously, and we are underway. Claudio Reyna unloads a deep one down the right side from McBride. Skies, wins, and takes an early knock. No call.
You can see the physicality immediately of Goodison. He's usually in the middle of the park, but you can see that matchup is going to be all day. Number 5 against number 20, Brian McBride.
We would like to thank Budweiser and all of our U.S. soccer sponsors for allowing us to bring you tonight's World Cup qualifier without interruption. Ricardo Gardner down the side. That ball still staying inbounds, and Eddie Pope says, let's just get rid of it as we take a look at the substitution possibilities for Bruce Arena, the U.S. bench.
They've got options in every single position. I think when you look down that list, you see Sharundalo on the right, Lewis on the left. Savagnin will be basically Chris Armas' backup tonight.
First true piece of possession for Jamaica. Interior ball looking for Whitmore, can't handle it, played out of bounds. It's Greg Vanny with a tight haircut right now, playing his professional ball in France. Another deep throw in for Jamaica. Armas is there, heads it down. But this will be a corner kick. First corner kick.
When you looked at, you saw them shaking hands before the game. I think Landon Donovan was trying to find somebody that he was taller than, and he didn't. These kind of matchups could make the difference today. They know who they're supposed to mark. They just got to stay with them.
effort by Gardner. Take a look at possibilities off the Jamaica bench.
Well, no real surprises here. I think number 3, Stewart. Dion Burton is a guy that Americans might remember for the goal he scored against the United States at RFK. Someone that is an option off the bench or even out wide if they don't have a goal and want to push the game. Very dangerous player with the left foot.
Pretty hardy goal kick from Casey Keller. Donovan heads it to McBride. Here's Beasley down the left side. In the box. Cuts across. McBride pokes it. Just trying to stretch to settle it. Ends up as a soft shot that falls harmlessly to Ricketts.
Now, watching that play develop, it's good to see them connecting early. The United States trying to not try, because of the wind factor, they're not going to look for shots from deep. They're going to try and play around it, and we'll see a lot of crosses in the first half.
Micah Hyde and Andy Williams working it. Goes out of bounds. Eric, you mentioned the wind. It is substantial down on the field level, going heavily right to left, which favors Jamaica this half.
And I think, Rob, I think the one thing you got to remember is that when Jamaica gets a look at the goal, whether that be from 30, 35 yards, it's okay to take a shot because the ball's going to carry today, something that Casey Keller has to worry about.
Step up by Armas. Donovan on the ball. McBride making a run. Armas didn't see that one in time. It's intercepted, and here's Gardner on the ball for the Reggae Boys. Too much touch by Ralph. Haydick sliding tackle. Jamaica stays with it. Whitmore plays it back. Goodison. It's Marlon King who could not handle that, and Eddie Pope clears it. Donovan cannot win it. It's Claudio Reyna, the captain for the U.S. Stewart, 2 players who have over 100 caps for the U.S. men's national team. And that was one of the things that was important for Bruce Arena in setting this team, fitness and experience.
I think experience, definitely. It's one of the reasons why Ernie Stewart's out there today. This is the kind of game where the United States needs to start well. And it's one of the things that we listen to Bruce Arena talk about. Starting well, not panicking, making good decisions in the early part of the game.
Beasley and Williams, 2 former teammates of the Chicago Fire, had a little battle right there. This goes all the way back to Keller. There's Andy Williams, creative midfielder for the Chicago Fire. Lethal on set pieces. Reyna settling things down as always. A little slip by Beasley. Shields off his man. Carlos Bocanegra on the ball. He'll be the subject of our halftime feature. We'd like to thank Gatorade for bringing you this portion of the game.
Yeah, one of the things that you'll see in the first 20 minutes, the United States is trying to get touches to Landon Donovan and Brian McBride. Even if they're negative touches, they're still good. Both forwards need to get a touch on the ball to get into the game. The other thing I'm starting to see is they're teaming up a little bit. Jamaica's trying to swarm Chris Armas a little bit. They've identified him as the guy that they want to have the ball and try and get it off him.
Carlos Bocanegra back to the U.S. Finds Banning. Beasley. Donovan giving it for McBride. Give and go. Here's McBride down the left side. Stewart, Armas making runs. This one intended for Ernie Stewart, headed out by Gardner. Falls to Beasley. Lays it off to Donovan. A lot of quick one-touches from Donovan already today.
Well, we saw when Brian McBride, number 20, got out on the wing there. He tried to make a cross. He didn't have enough power on it. And you saw the wind catch it a little bit. I mean, everybody on the field recognized that, and that's why they're going to try and keep the ball on the ground.
We take a look at Bruce Arena's checklist and things that he wants to accomplish today.
A fast start, very important in a game like this. But still, I like the second one to control the game and to make sure that the Jamaicans don't get too confident, don't keep the ball too much, get the crowd into the game. But finishing is the most important part, and staying focused and disciplined.
Manny, intercepted by Tyrone Marshall. Armas steps up, throw in for Jamaica. Chris Armas. And there's Bruce Arena. Again, looking for his 50th win today. Has more wins, has a better winning percentage, and a longer tenure than any other coach in U.S. men's national team history.
Pace of this game surprised me a little bit.
In what way?
I think both teams are still kind of searching, trying to get their feet, looking to make the passes and not trying to make anything happen just yet, just feeling each other out.
Micah Hyde plays it wide to Gardner. And ball behind the intended player. Settled down by Hyde again. Back to Goodison. And they play it all the way back to Ricketts. Donovan Ricketts, 6'4", covers a lot of that frame. Tyrone Marshall, the LA Galaxy. Square ball, finds Hyde. Donovan trying to dispossess. Beasley comes in. King crashing. Now it's the U.S. still trying to get it out. Jamaica has had the better of possession. Whitmore with some dribbling. Service. Ernie Stewart clears it out. Marshall wins that in front of Donovan. Fabian Davis sends that one in. One by Eddie Pope. And a whistle on the field. A lot of Major League Soccer faces on the field right now. That and a heavy English flair as well, Eric.
I think the matchups are really a key. I think watching Eddie Pope, he's going to be going against someone he's very familiar with in Damani Ralph. In the midfield, a very English style, but you've got Claudio Reyna, who's playing his club soccer in Manchester City now, so it's something that they're used to.
Those, again, are just the players that are on the field right now.
Correct.
Claudio Reyna, playing his club ball in Manchester City, had a very good game over the weekend. Received high praise from his manager, Kevin Keegan. Fabian Davis, long, low ball. Pope is there. And it'll be a throw-in for Jamaica again. Very little rhythm, particularly for the U.S.
Well, the wind is a factor for both teams. They're having a hard time getting a hold of the ball and keeping it on the floor. I think once that is established, and maybe as the wind dies down a little bit as this game goes on, that might happen. But the United States has got to look at it as they are at a disadvantage right now. They are going against the wind. Staying organized and staying disciplined and not making a mistake is pretty much their mindset.
This portion of the match presented by Chevrolet. Chipping. And Eddie Pope again is there in the center of the defense. He and Bocanegra paired together today. Stewart finds Reyna. There's Tyrone Marshall for Jamaica. Armas in pursuit. Huge push-off by Marshall. Does not get away with it. Rather, yes, that is the correct call.
Two guys very familiar with each other. That's just a push-off. You keep that arm down. If you keep it, you see that arm go up and there's a little bit of a push there, then it's not a foul. But I don't really see much there. But that's probably a referee trying to establish very early, look, let's keep this thing clean.
Donovan is onside. Can't quite get to it. U.S. still looking for their first shot today. Poor ball intercepted by Greg Vanny. McBride. Back to Vanny. Beasley and Donovan in the box for the U.S. Vanny stood up, tripped up. We play on. Andy Williams on the ball for Jamaica. Out wide, they find Gardner. Stewart on him. Foul on Ernie Stewart. Free kick for Jamaica. Not a dangerous part of the field.
Play. Very smart play. Do not, as he starts to, get moving here, why not? Get yourself in there. Don't let him get going with the ball. It's a smart foul.
But set pieces are important because Jamaica does have a size advantage today.
And I don't like this one because of the wind. This is dangerous.
Andy Williams strikes it, low ball. There's some big jersey tugging going on. Haydick might have gotten away with one as shot went well wide of Keller as we take another look at it.
Hey, as this ball comes in there, it gets a little heel. Looks like Tyrone Marshall is the one that gets that ball through there. Very fortunate not to get this on goal. As that ball comes through there, that could have easily been 1-0 to Jamaica.
That one was past Keller. And quickly by him. Marlon King comes in on a roll. 5 appearances for Jamaica, 5 goals, including a hat trick in his last game. There's Brian McBride. Looks like he's still feeling the effects on that left hip lower back from that hit within the first seconds of this game.
You know, we said that this was going to be a physical battle. It's not Goodison on this particular play. He just got hit by Tyrone Marshall with the knee. It's going to be a rough day today. It's not going to be an easy game for Brian McBride.
Never is when you're the target guy up top.
But if there has ever been a target guy to have in your team for the United States, that's him. Brian McBride has been a wonderful player with his back to goal and a great compliment to someone like Landon Donovan.
Haydick heading it out in the following box. Armas goes up, can't win it, but it does fall to Stewart, who just drills it to relieve pressure. I want to apologize for slight technical issues we're having here in Jamaica as we effort to bring you the best possible pictures we can from Kingston. Williams given all kinds of time at midfield. Handball by Reyna. And quickly retaken by Jamaica. Off to Gardner. Damani Ralph. Poor first touch by Ralph. Gets away with it. Ralph on the ball again. Wide right. Fabian Davis.
Now, this is not what the United States wants. They need the ball out of their end. In the first 14 minutes of this game, they haven't really had too many opportunities to possess the ball. It's not what they want.
Well, Bruce Arena says he wants to take control of this game. They do not have it right now. Saved by Gardner. Stewart and Haydick not fighting on any of the moves as he plays it back. Hyde lost one in. Andy Williams in the box. Beasley on him. Good defense from DeMarcus Beasley. Such an underrated part of that young man's game.
It's great defense, and I think the fact that he's played with Andy Williams, very wary of the fact that he can turn on a dime and do things that most players can't. Smart play for Beasley, staying with him and making sure he did not get turned and making the play.
This portion of the match presented by Chiquita. Haydick will take the throw-in.
Now notice how he takes his time. Let's get this in the other end, he's thinking. Try and get this in their end of the field. Let's play over there for a while.
Yeah, he just walked it into the other end. Donovan being shielded off the ball by Claude Davis, who plays a square ball back in the box and belts it out by Davis. Eddie Pope is there. Here's Armas. Over the head of Frankie Haydick. Slides, keeps it in bounds. Stewart can't get to it in time. Hyde. Now Gardner, back to Hyde. U.S. being forced to defend with all 11 right now.
And they've got to be careful. If they pressure the ball too deep and Jamaica's in, they will get stretched. And you see Andy Williams kind of floating around in those little spots where it's easy to play. Chris Armas and Claudio Reyna have to be very wary of that. Make sure that Andy Williams can't get the ball in easy spots, and neither can that guy, Damani Ralph. If those guys get the ball in a situation where they can start running at the U.S. defense, that's not a good thing at all.
There's Ralph. On his right, thinking about it. Remember, he's got the wind to his back. And Reyna is there to poke it away. Beasley to Reyna. Quick to close down and strip to the ball, but a whistle on the play. ESPN2's Major League Soccer coverage continues this Saturday as Chris Armas and the Chicago Fire take on Kobe Jones, who's on the bench for the U.S. right now, Carlos Ruiz, and the new look LA Galaxy. That is midnight Eastern on ESPN2. I say new look because just today, the LA Galaxy announced the hiring of their brand new head coach, former U.S. national team coach, Steve Sampson. Be interesting to see what he can do with a team that is already in first place, not only in the West, but the entire league, as Ziggy Schmid was fired earlier this week.
That's a message to the rest of the league, I guess, if you're in first place.
Apparently that's not good enough.
You can still lose your job.
There was a high foot on Ernie Stewart. And his first touch put him in that position. King lays it back off. Micah high. Again, Marlon King had Haydick spun around momentarily. Ralph with the last touch there as Keller looked for the quick outlet and then pulled back. You were watching live World Cup qualifying from Kingston, Jamaica. The United States taking on Jamaica. First of 4 games in a home and away series involving Panama, El Salvador, and Jamaica. Rather, first of 6 games, I should say. This one scoreless in the 19th minute. Jamaica's had the better of possession. Alongside longtime U.S. World Cup vet Eric Ronaldo and Rob Stone as Casey Keller comes off his line to corral that one. Outlets it to Ernie Stewart. Stewart given time, looking for Donovan. Settles his chest. Try to play that one back to McBride. No luck. Here's McBride. Laying it off. Stewart looking for his options. Reyna, always a good option. Calm things down. He needs to see a little more of that ball. Poor ball from Stewart. Marlon King in a foot race that is won by Eddie Pope. USsoccer.com's new interactive prediction game, Phillips Corner Picks, is on the net right now. You can win great prizes from Phillips and U.S. Soccer throughout World Cup qualifying, including a Phillips flat screen TV and a VIP trip to a men's national team game. It's kind of U.S. Soccer's fantasy football version, if you will. So click on over there and check it out. Great prizes to be won. I'll do anything for a flat screen TV, I'll tell you that right now. Micah Hyde, number 8, has seen a lot of the ball today for Jamaica.
As you watch, the United States defensive line has fallen back about 5 to 10 yards further back than where they were when they started this game. So the quick start's over. Now it's all about being organized. They've gotten through that first part of the game. Everybody's pretty much had a touch on the ball. Try and calm things down. See if the United States can play on the other end for a while.
Here's Reyna. Donovan. Back to Reyna. Again, U.S. not attacking in numbers. It's always kind of 2 or 3. Reyna on the left. Playing it off his man. This will be a...
Well, you could argue that they have taken a cautious approach. I think that in a game like this, when you come to Jamaica, the elements are usually a lot worse. This field has been renovated. It's a lot better, but you can see that they're able to move the ball and just take the air out of the ball. What I mean by that is let the ball do the work. Let everybody get a touch. But now at this point, get in their end. You've got to take advantage of these little opportunities. Corner kick is one of them.
This portion of the game presented by Phillips. This will be the first corner kick of the game for the United States. As Eddie Pope, Carlos Bocanegra move up from the back line and into the box. They are big targets for the U.S.
Well, talking to the coaching staff from Jamaica, they're very wary of Bocanegra and how dangerous he is. Even though he's not the biggest guy, he's always dangerous.
Reyna sends it in. Ricketts had it, not cleanly, but came away with it. Quick gun, outlets it to midfield. Haydick all over Damani Ralph. Beasley comes in, off of him, throw in for Jamaica. As far as road venues that the U.S. has to play in during World Cup qualifying, this may be one of the friendliest, not only people-wise, but field-wise. Huge velodrome tracks surrounding this field, giving a massive cushion between the fans and the players.
Very true. I think the talent on the field is the problem right now. Jamaica has a very talented team.
This route off of his foot. Andy Williams blocked by Bocanegra. Pope is there. Still can't clearly get it out. Reyna does not win that one. Jamaica back to Gardner on his left. Let's one sail right at Casey Keller. But the crowd is starting to get into this one as well.
Crowd's getting into it, and Gardner doing the right thing. They're recognizing that wind's still up there a little bit. Why not? Take a crack at it and test Casey Keller.
Again, a substantial wind blowing right to left, which favors Jamaica in the first half. Whitmore trying to slide one through the route.
Now, we've seen that happen a couple times now. Landon Donovan trying to find his partner up there. Brian McBride, they still haven't been able to connect.
Williams will poke one from out wide, and that one off the side of his foot as we take a look at the rest of the World Cup qualifying schedule for the United States. This game 1 of 6. They go home, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, part of an MLS doubleheader with the Revolutions. They take on El Salvador, then on the road at Panama, and then on the road at El Salvador before coming home for their final 2 games in D.C. and in Ohio.
I don't like to jump ahead, but that game September 4th in Foxborough is a huge game. Very difficult team to play against in El Salvador, who will come in and play a strict, very strict 4-4-2 system, lock up the space and make it hard, but that's a game the United States should win.
El Salvador, though, a country whose national soccer program does appear to be in a bit of a decline. When you were going through World Cup qualifying, El Salvador is not a fun place to play or a fun team to face anywhere on the planet.
Well, the venues have improved. I think both the teams have as well. But my thinking in that is that the advantage the United States has now is they have a much bigger player pool. A lot of players to choose from. A lot of options for Bruce Arena to figure out how to qualify this team.
And we talked to him today in the hotel lobby about some difference between qualifying for 2002 and this. He says, we're just more prepared right now. We have a keener eye on what our talent pool is. We are 1, 2, 3 deep at every position at any point in time. So if somebody goes down, I can pull somebody else in. He also was talking about platooning players, something you brought up to him, Eric.
But it's very important. I think certain players are better options in certain venues. I mean, that's something that a good manager can do. You see these guys on the bench. There's Kerry Savagnan, there's Eddie Johnson, Eddie Lewis, Brian Ching might be an option, and there's the young kid, Eddie Gavin. What a great idea to bring him here, to let him experience this and let him see what it's like, because eventually this kid will be on the national team on a more consistent basis.
Eddie Gavin and Eddie Johnson, both MLS players on the bench. They are not suited up for today's game. They are strictly here to practice with the team and get a taste of this experience.
They need to see it. They need to see what it's like.
McBride only has Donovan and Beasley. Here comes Armas with the run. Beasley far post, has Reyna, drops it off to him. Reyna, the volley, just off target. First shot of the day for the U.S. Nice build-up for the States. And this portion of the match presented by the Home Depot.
Well, Brian McBride learned something from that last cross that he hit from the opposite side that he didn't get enough on it. This was a much better cross with his left foot, finding DeMarcus, who was able to knock it down. Puts the defense a little bit running a little bit. They couldn't get to the ball quick enough. Claudio would have much rather, the United States fans would much rather see that ball on his right foot being his stronger foot, but it's a pretty good look from the Phillips camp.
That shot by Reyna, a difficult one to keep low as well. You need him low and on frame. He's 1 out of 2.
But good to get a shot off.
They get their first shot in the 26th minute. They also have only one corner kick today. Does the U.S. Greg Vanny on the ball. Outlet, too tall for Donovan. One back by Jamaica. Gardner. King and Hayden having a good battle. Hyde. Broken up by Reyna. Here's Donovan, who's starting to play a little bit deeper so he can get some touches. And there's Donovan sprinting down the left side. That ball from Beasley, partially deflected.
Now that's what Landon Donovan is very good at. And that's why a lot of people get confused on whether he's a midfielder or forward. When he drops and he makes those deep runs, nobody can stay with him. He's just too fast. And watching that, I'll bet you, he's thinking to himself, I'm going to do that again because that almost worked.
Last Saturday in Kansas City, he had 2 goals, both of them courtesy of his speed and excellent finishing. Beasley now playing in the Netherlands for PSV Eindhoven. His first game on Saturday for his new club. What did he do? Scored the goal in the win. Living out of a hotel right now.
That's the way it is. You go to Europe, you stay in a hotel for a while and make sure you get settled. And once he gets settled, I'm sure he's going to do just fine for them.
There is Beasley on the ball, trying to cut one into Donovan. Still has it, does Beasley. Stood up by his man, and that'll play as a goal kick for Jamaica. Tomorrow, 8 Eastern, ESPN's coverage of the Little League Softball World Series concludes with the championship game. McLean, Virginia, Waco, Texas battle it out in Portland, Oregon. Little League Softball World Series on ESPN tomorrow at 8 Eastern. Ricketts drills one about 3/4 the length of the field. One back, though, by the U.S. Reyna try to get Stewart involved in that one. Marlon King cutting inside by Hayden. Ralph making a run. King decides to shoot it himself, and Keller had that one covered.
Well, that's what I mean by when Jamaica gets 30 yards from goal, they're gonna look to take a shot. Even there was a pretty good run coming in there from Damani Ralph. That's the theme. The United States will have that advantage in the second half, but you can see from the Phillips goal cam, that's what it looks like to be Casey Keller right now. He doesn't like to see guys running with the ball 30 yards from his net.
Keller's goal kick struggles to reach half field as that wind holds it up. McBride earns the throw in for the U.S.
It's hard if you're sitting at home watching this to really understand the effect the wind is having on this game, because it truly is. It's very difficult for both teams in the regard to wait a pass properly if you're Jamaica and to get a shot off if you're the United States.
Armis to Donovan, who saves it and then earns second corner kick of the game for the U.S. This wind for you golfers out there is at least a one-club change, maybe
about two. It's about two. The United States is doing something a little different. In the past, they've always pretty much been outswingers, but you'll notice Greg Vanny's going to come over and hit this from the right side, which means if it doesn't work out, it's a long run back. But they're going to try and hit that near post. Eddie Pope is going to hit that near post first, and then 3 or 4 people are going to come in behind him.
Vanny the lefty sends it in. And headed out by Jamaica. This will be another U.S. corner on the opposite side.
Not the best ball from Vanny. That's not where he was intending to put that. If you're looking to find somebody on a corner kick, DeMarcus Beasley shouldn't be your target. It should be Pope and Bocanegra. McBride is sneaking around that back post, which is a good place to be right now.
Short ball to Donovan. Back to Reyna. Slided in. And headed out by Tyrone Marshall. Sent right back in by Ernie Stewart. Here comes Jamaica on a counter now. Long outlet for Damani Ralph. Hayden steps up and heads it out of bounds to quell that rally. This portion of the match presented by Gatorade. Hayden with a handful of jersey. He may be getting a whistle a little bit later. This ball scampers through the box. Reyna is there. Finally cleared out by Bocanegra, and then a header by Reyna. McBride heads it down to Stewart. Tempo is just picked up again for Jamaica as they force the turnover. Damani Ralph on the ball for the Reggae Boys. Armis on him. And a whistle. Offside flag is up.
Well, it's not a good view right now for Bruce Arena. Usually he's a little bit more talkative. I don't think he has much to say right now with his assistant coach, Glenn Mooch Meyernick. Looks a little worried to me. I think the game is not going the way he wants it to go, but the third part of his checklist is the most important part, finishing the game. But to control the game, which was also on his list, that hasn't happened yet.
Again, we're experiencing some small technical difficulties here in Jamaica. We want to apologize and try and bring you the best broadcast we possibly can under these conditions. Here's Claudio Reyna, the captain, chipping, finding Beasley, settles with his chest, tripped up, no whistle. He plays it to Donovan on his left. Probably should have shot it, was looking for McBride. And here comes Jamaica. Whitmore outlets it to King. Behind Hyde, finds Marshall. crowd is on their feet right now. Here comes Gardner. Kanani Rout and Eddie Pope, beautifully positioned. McBride holding his left foot and ankle as he was fouled on that 50-50 tackle.
You can hear the crowd getting more and more into this game when Jamaica starts playing well, and you can see how that play developed. When Gardner finally got the ball, and he had plenty of space to run into, this crowd's going to start having an effect on the Jamaicans, and they're going to start getting more and more confident, and that is not good for the United States.
Haydick finally making a run down the right side, swings that one in, but falls to Ricketts. We haven't seen much offense from Haydick, who does like to venture forward often. And here's a quick counter as Haydick has to hustle his way back. Marlon King taking on Bocanegra, and the man from Fulham, who's also our halftime feature focus, is there to play it back to Keller. Headed right back in, falls to Bocanegra, fakes one way, goes left. Carlos Bocanegra, 1 goal, 1 assist this season for Team USA. The Altaloma, California native. Beasley looking for Reyna. Gets by his man, has McBride, plays it behind him. And poor ball from McBride as Donovan was running on.
That's only because they couldn't hear each other. If McBride could have, if this crowd wasn't so loud, he would have been able to hear Landon say leave it, and I guarantee he did. And if he didn't touch that, it would have gone right into Landon's back.
Scoreless in the 34th minute. On the plus side, if you're a U.S. supporter, they are beginning to create some chances.
But I like the way they're playing now, because they're taking the wind out of the ball a little bit, taking their advantage of when they have the ball, but they're countering. They're countering at speed. When they go with not so much numbers, but with the intention of getting behind them.
Manny, Donovan, back to Beasley. Donovan to Armas. Try to squeeze that one into Stewart, too tight. Andy Williams slowing things down for Jamaica. The U.S. will be content to have Jamaica do this all evening.
Well, you don't want to give them their opportunity to dance, because the Jamaicans can definitely do that. With the ball, they're all very talented. But if the United States can do a good job of keeping them in front of them, that is half the battle. But jumping in, allowing them to beat you, can't let it happen.
Gardner has had a lot of touches on this left side. Flights one far post. Headed down very calmly by Vanny to Keller, who quickly outlets it to Beasley. McBride finds Stewart. Stewart given all kinds of time. Haydick in the offensive third now. Step over, finds Reyna. Stewart. And that one out of bounds. This portion of the game presented by Budweiser. United States in the midst of a 7-game unbeaten run. Just 1 defeat this year in 9 games. That coming on the road in Amsterdam to Holland. No shame in losing there to that team.
They're not the first team to lose to Holland in Holland.
And it won't be the last. On to McBride, who does block that clearance. Donovan steps in with a fall to Ricketts. Again, we mentioned a scoreless game between these two teams in World Cup qualifying is not unexpected. This is the 4th World Cup qualifying game between these two countries. The previous 3 all ended in a 0-0 scoreline.
Well, that is a little bit deceiving, though. I think those 3 games were played on a different surface, which was not as nice as this one. This has been much improved, and they were all played in the daytime. So this should be a game. The surface is better. Hopefully the wind will go away a little bit. If you can see the flags, they're not moving anymore, and the wind is pretty much subsided. For me, I think that this game's going to settle down. Both teams are going to be able to play, so there should be some goals.
If that wind does not pick up, that means the U.S. will not have that advantage in the second half. That Jamaica experienced in the first half hour or so of this game.
But to the United States' advantage, they did not take advantage of it, so they didn't get really much, Jamaica didn't get anything out of it.
Haydick making another run. Stewart plays him. Gardner tripped up by a sliding Haydick. Ricardo Gardner plays for the Bolton Wanderers in England, Premier League. And this is what the Reggae Boys do at home here in the office, which is what they call their national stadium. U.S. just 10 wins on the road in World Cup qualifying through their history. Those numbers may be a little skewed when you go back so many decades where the U.S. team was not a powerful side in this region. In the last decade or so, those numbers have certainly swung in the more positive favor for the U.S. Donovan trying to get to this one, and he can't. Ian Goodison toying with him, but then gives it up, as does Armas. Fabian Davis. Boy, there's a misplay. Chris Armas venturing forward. Still Armas, pushed down in the box. No call. This will be a goal kick. Seen a couple U.S. players go down in the box. Nothing malicious, nothing brutal, but sometimes, Eric, especially in these games, you can only go down so many times before you don't get caught.
Well, you have to be very careful. I mean, the last thing you need is to start faking it and get a yellow card, which will affect you somewhere down the road. You'll miss a game.
Two yellow cards received in this round of qualifying equals an automatic one-game suspension for that player, and yellow cards do carry over from the previous round of World Cup qualifying that these two teams played in, which means Eddie Lewis, Corey Gibbs, Claudio Reyna, and Eddie Pope are playing with a yellow card right now. Should either of them get a card today, they will have to sit out the next game, which will be versus El Salvador Saturday, September 4th.
Going back to Eddie Pope's was not included in the second Grenada game for that very reason, because I think Bruce Arena felt that this game was more important to have that kind of experience on the field today. The game against El Salvador after that, if he were to get a yellow card and miss that, I think he would expect to win at home.
And hypothetically, if Pope should get a yellow, as we get back to the game, Ralph cleared out by Eddie Pope. Hypothetically, should Pope get a yellow, has to sit out the next game. This is where the depth comes in. Corey Gibbs slides right back into that position.
And that would obviously be a much more offensive-minded United States team playing at home.
Second quarter of the game for Jamaica. Scoreless, 41st minute from National Stadium in Kingston. Andy Williams sends it in, headed out by Claudio Reyna.
The United States looks very organized on their set pieces.
And here's a breakout by Beasley. Has Donovan and Stewart. Plays it across the field to Donovan. Beasley was taken down after the play. Centering ball intended for Stewart. Again, Ricketts does not come up clean with it.
What a fantastic play by Ricketts. To see that Landon had already put his head down and was going to make the cross, and to be so brave to come out that far. A lot of goalkeepers wouldn't do that. That should have been a tap in for Ernie Stewart. At least that's what he's thinking. It's a great play by Ricketts.
Haydick finds Beasley. That one off of Goodison.
There's a little bit of concern from the Jamaican coach.
Lazzaroni, the Brazilian native, his second stint as head coach for Jamaica, as Beasley swings it across to Vanny. Donovan.
Well, a lot of people might remember him for his time with the Brazilian national team in 1990, where he took a team and played very defensively and was highly criticized for the way he took a Brazilian team, which was eliminated almost immediately from 1990, allowing their arch rival Argentina to get all the way to the final.
Bocanegra looking for McBride. Ball to Bryan, who's all alone in the box. No one within 30 yards of him, but he can't keep it in. Carlos Bocanegra, 4 goals, 2 assists for 10 points last year for the U.S., second most points on the team. He'll be the focus of our halftime feature.
Still refuses to tuck in that jersey.
You know his parents are watching this one back home in California. Pace has slowed down for Jamaica. This long ball sent in, won by Haydick, intended for King. Gardner. And a beautiful layoff finds King. Haydick is there. A patented Frankie Haydick tackle.
Well, you got to get the ball in those kind of tackles. You get beat, it could really put your team in trouble.
Excellent work by Eddie Pope to win that back for the U.S. Here's Beasley with Vanny overlapping wide left. Marcus cutting inside, dribbling into danger, and takes a foul.
Can't ignore the ball behind him. Yeah, I think everybody.
Oh, some miscommunication there on a massive level. That could have been an own goal. Instead, it'll be the 4th U.S. corner.
So you don't think it's loud out here? This ball goes up in the air. You see the arm is up from Goodison, and any way you look at it, that's a dangerous play. This could have easily, I don't think it would ever have been a goal, but I still think you can tell that the noise level here is having an effect on both teams. The United States has to capitalize on these kind of chances today.
Raina will strike it. McBride can't get to it. Here comes Theodore Whitmore. Unleashes one down the middle of the park. Chris Armas pops it up. Andy Williams. Williams trying to get it back, but it's Haydick there, shielding it out of bounds. And it'll be a ball for the U.S. Foul on Williams, who played his collegiate ball in the States at the University of Rhode Island. URI's all-time leading scorer was Andy Williams. 52 goals and 45 assists. He was named to the U.S. Soccer America Collegiate Team of the Decade for the 90s, and his dad, Maurice, actually played for this national team as well. Tyrone Marshall's father, Cornell, also played for the Jamaica national team. 1 minute of stoppage time has been added. It started off ugly for the U.S., but they have since settled down and had the better of play, maybe the last half of this first stanza. But they haven't finished it up yet. McBride with the toe poke. 35 seconds left in this opening half. Cannot fall asleep here if you're the U.S.
Well, look at the United States right now. They've got everybody back, inviting that floated pass in there, staying organized. This guy just want to get in the locker room and talk about the second half.
And that is it for the opening half. Semifinal stage of World Cup qualifying in the CONCACAF region. At the break, the U.S. 0, Jamaica 0. When we return, we profile two-time MLS.
Said earlier that maybe the wind may be a factor at this point in the game, but the wind has subsided, so I don't really see it as much of an advantage anymore. The United States might press the game. They might press the first 5 minutes, put a little pressure on them and see where they go.
U.S. press to start the opening of this game. Didn't work very well for him as Jamaica sends in a long ball that's won by Bocanegra.
They got stretched a little bit. I think when there's not enough cohesion between the back four and the midfield, especially against Jamaica with a guy like Andy Williams who can really do some damage, you gotta come together as a group, and they didn't do a good job. The United States did not do a good job of that at times in the first half.
We would like to thank Phillips and all of our U.S. soccer sponsors for allowing us to bring you tonight's World Cup qualifier without interruption.
See
No
Andy Williams'
goals.
eyes. He's looking for those little holes to play. He's someone that given time and space, can really make something happen. You have to be wary of that. I'm watching Chris Armas right now, who's doing a much better job of staying close to him.
No goals and no cards in the first half. And no changes on the field in the second. Greg Vanny heads it down for Beasley. Here's Armas. Took a whack from behind by his club teammate, Andy Williams. Vanny, this finds Landon Donovan. 6'3" Ian Goodison on him. Here's DeMarcus Beasley. Not a lot of size for the U.S. on the left side right now. Reyna, Beasley, Donovan, all in that 5'9", 8'10" stature. That ball sent in. Hayden running in, colliding with his man who continues to play. Long outlet. Drops through everybody. Here's Bocanegra. One touch to Vanny. Beasley. Still Beasley. Lays it off. Armas. Claudio Reyna. Looking for options. Has Vanny on the left. Uses him. Settles. Serves. Far post. Armas was lurking, but Gardner headed it out and kept it in. Eddie Pope wins that.
It's a mirror image of the first half. Maybe the wind is still having an effect because the United States is now looking like they've pretty much got possession. They've got control of this game, and the Jamaicans are chasing a little bit. It's got to be good in the eyes of Bruce Arena until you make a mistake like that, which can hurt you.
Intercepted by Whitmore. Theodore Whitmore, the captain. Onside is Damani Ralph. Breaking in is Andy Williams, who has it near post. Chip blocked by Pope. First corner of the second half for either team, third for Jamaica.
And you see Vanny clapping his hands there. He knows that's his fault. He knows that he got a little lax on the ball. They almost got burned. Once you see this ball getting behind, it's a great run from Andy Williams, getting in behind the defense. Eddie Pope closing. You see how his arms are by his side? He's learned that lesson. You keep those arms down. You don't want that ball to inadvertently hit you.
Damani Ralph scores! Make that Ian Goodison. Far post header. This place has erupted.
You see this ball come in, it gets right over that first man. Goodison does a great job of getting to it first. Casey Keller really has no opportunity to stay with this. There's a little bit of a mix-up. McBride lost his guy. He completely lost his man. Picked him up a little bit too late. To Phillips, Goldkamp catches that ball getting in the net, but Brian McBride did not stay with his man. He picked him up too late. Couldn't recover. 1-0.
Well, let's see how this changes things.
Well, I just think the crowd is now in this game. This is going to be a very difficult road and a long way back to the United States to try and get a goal.
Ian Goodison, 6'3", plays in the second division of England. Gets Jamaica on the board first. We said at the outset Jamaica had a height advantage and set pieces were going to be crucial. And they capitalized on just that.
Well, they capitalized on the one guy that they thought was their strength in Brian McBride. He just lost his man. He looked up for a second. Goodison came from a little bit deeper. That kind of stuff happens. You have to be on your toes in games like this. One little mistake, one little play could make all the difference. And it really hurt the United States.
This portion of the game presented by Budweiser. Cross field to Fabian Davis. Sent in far post. off the head of King. Well, Eric, you and I were just talking early in the second half about, take the crowds out of it. This is a good thing for the U.S. Scratch that. This crowd has arisen.
Watching the demeanor of the Jamaican team as they came on the field, you wouldn't think that would have happened, but that's World Cup qualifying. That's the drama of all of this, is that you make one mistake or one great play and everything changes. Now this became a very, very hard game for the United States.
One of the things Bruce Arena emphasized to his team in the locker room was do not allow Jamaica to get an early goal in this half.
Other thing he stressed was controlling the game. They may have just lost control of this game. It's going to be a dogfight to get it back.
Again, this a meeting of, on paper at least, the top two teams in this qualifying group. Here's Vanny on his left, quickly closed down by Williams. Beasley trying to split two and is bumped off.
Now here's the flip side of this. This is the flip side, because this is a great opportunity for the United States, and they're going to put their big boys in front of the net now and see if they can make something happen. Expect Claudio Reyna to hit this. He's going to in-swing this, and if you can see it from the wide angle, he's going to basically be trying to hit this to that far post. Line it up directly with that far post, and if it hits the ground and no one touches it, it might go in.
Reyna sends it in. Pope is there. Vanny crashes. And then finally belted out by Jamaica.
And this is what World Cup qualifying is all about. You can see that both teams, their urgency is now there. There's a completely new element to this game of nervousness, and every little play counts.
Here's Armas. Coco finds Beasley in the box. Beasley across the goal mouth and cleared out. Falls to Vanny. Scored a goal from right about there in the Grenada series. That service headed out. Stewart, foot race, and he wins it. Shields it out of bounds. Quick throw-in.
Well, Rob, you asked me at halftime, as you can see the look of concern on Bruce's face, when he would make a change and when he would have to push the game. We were talking about Jamaica having to push the game because they're playing at home. All of that just changed. Bruce Arena's the one that needs, if the game keeps going like this, he's the one that's going to have to make a change. He's the one that's going to have to push and try and get a goal.
This is where national team coaches earn their hefty paychecks. This is stressful. Reyna sends it in over the head of Beasley. This will be a throw-in for the home side. Aaron ball picked off by Beasley. Slows it down. Here comes Jamaica again. Keller off his line. Bocanegra bumped in the box. Flag is up.
Look at those two ex-teammates. They knew before that ball was played in that this was going to be a little bit of a race. You see them grabbing each other. Both of them there's nobody better right now, in my opinion, than Bocanegra on the recovery. He'll stay with anybody, and he'll make very timely tackles. That's why he's a part of this team right now, and it's imperative that he continues to do what he's doing. But you can see it in their eyes, man. Those two know exactly what they're getting when they play against each other.
The goal kick fell right to Reyna, who sends it across to Donovan. One time to McBride! Not too far off target.
You'd like to see him combining, though. I mean, that now they're trying to find each other. Landon Donovan with a super layoff. It's a great pass from Claudio Reyna. Instead of hitting this first time, he just sees him sneaking in. That's a good spot to be. Keeping that low would have been the secret. I mean, it's a hard thing to do to keep that thing down. But you got to make the goalkeeper make a save. Anything can happen if you keep it low.
This portion of the match presented by the Home Depot. Bocanegra plays it off to Vanny. Beasley. Bocanegra pops that one high towards Ernie Stewart. Heads it over, nobody down that right side as Jamaica takes control. Claude Davis, Andy Williams, Tyrone Marshall. Long outlet puts Vanny on the run. Saved and then slid out by Vanny.
Actually, it's Bocanegra.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. And that was that closing speed of Bocanegra that you just mentioned.
It certainly was. I think it's the time, the timing of his tackle.
Let's see what Jamaica does with this throw-in.
Looks like they're going to do something.
Fabian Davis with a huge build-up to this. Let's see how much distance he can get on it. Not bad. Won by Bocanegra. Ball drops and then cleared out by Bocanegra. Hyde. Finds McManus. Paid it. In a dogfight with Williams. Keeps it in and then gets bumped off. Good no call. McBride flicks it on, intended for Donovan, but cleared back out by Jamaica. Reggae boys playing with some confidence and emotion right now as they surge another attack through the box. Kamani Rao, Ernie Stewart gives him a little tug and push, and this will be a goal kick for the U.S.
Some nervous moments there, and I think you're starting to see the emotions come out of the players. A lot of pulling, a lot of tugging in the box. Andy Williams a little unlucky there not to get by Frankie Hayduk.
Williams is just so skillful on the ball.
Andy Williams, as good as a player as he is, the last thing the United States needs is a confident Andy Williams. Because he'll try the one thing you don't think he's going to do, and if it works...
And it usually does.
It's brilliant. Andy Williams' work rate tonight has been the reason why things haven't gone so well for the United States. Armas and Reyna are really struggling with the defensive effort that you're seeing out of Andy Williams.
And the first yellow card of the game has just been issued.
And that's going to start happening. You saw it you saw the emotions come out in the United States box on the last play. They're starting to feel it, and Jamaicans know that they want to hold on to this lead, and they'll do whatever it takes. There's going to be a lot of fouling, a lot of breaking up plays. This game just getting pretty tough to referee.
Fabian Davis, the first yellow card of the game. Free kick. Claudio Reyna again over it. Sends it in near post. Slid out of bounds, and that will be a goal kick for Jamaica. Well, if you're that man right now, Eric Winalda, what are you thinking as he walks across the bench and talks to Brian Shink?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's thinking, is get in front of get the goal.
Now, who are you taking out here?
It could be Ernie Stewart. The kind of game that Brian McBride is having, I would think that Brian's probably the first on his list.
Look at the surging run, but Eddie Pope is there to step up and end it. Armas. Eddie Pope been in control all evening. Again, Beasley said to the turf, no whistle.
But going back to your point, Rob, is he might take a defender off. He might very well take a defender off and get three forwards in front of the net. He needs to get a point. That's what he's thinking.
Whitmore on the ball and lets one sail. Well, this will be an interesting substitution for the U.S. as they quickly take the goal kick. I don't believe the official knows the ball is in play as he lets this sub come on. And yes, you're right, it is Brian McBride coming off for Brian Shing. What's interesting about this is Brian Shing, not only a big target, not only the first Hawaiian to represent the U.S. men's national team, but his club partner in San Jose is Landon Donovan. Those two understand each other, work very well together, and oh, by the way, they are now paired up together for the U.S.
It's something that I think that we touched on Wednesday, how well these two play together. Actually, Ching didn't have the best game, but his work rate and his ability to make things happen and to find Landon and know his strengths was the difference. So, let's see if the San Jose boys can do it.
This push in the game presented by Chevy. Reyna to Beasley. Beasley in the middle of the park. Likes his left. Lets a soft one off to Ricketts.
You know what? I like that play, though. I like it a lot. It showed a lot of composure from Beasley to not panic. Keep it on the net. That's not where he was intending to shoot. He was trying to find that corner, but squeezing it through a couple bodies and a couple legs is a tough thing for a goalkeeper to deal with. I like that.
That one out of bounds. It's a money Ralph. Had to make about a 50-yard run to get up to it. There is Brian Ching.
You know, I talked to him before the game. He was spent a little time on the bike. Wasn't too nervous about it. I said, "Do you expect to get in tonight?" He says, "You know, I'm really hoping. You know, I've been feeling good about everything. Coming back from the injury. Last year he had a pretty severe Achilles injury. He was out for pretty much the remainder of the season. He said this would just be awesome to have this opportunity to play."
Ching's 24 points, second most in the league. Here's Beasley sliding tackle. Won there by Claude Davis, stretching that 6'1" frame to its max.
I know, you'll see him, it's a great tackle, but as soon as this play's over, he jumps up and he's all over Gardner for losing the ball. All over him. He knows that you can't afford to make mistakes like that. Vanny made one. They got a goal. They can't afford to do the same.
Haydick sends one in. Reyna can't settle it. Vanny does. To Beasley. Vanny overlaps. Reyna. Back to Beasley. Splits a couple men. Ching laying that one off. Nobody there.
Again, he's trying to find Landon Donovan.
Poor ball, won by Beasley. Ching turns. Lays it off for Reyna. Has Vanny wide open on the left. The service. The header is off target. That should have been the equalizer.
I'll tell you, this is why he's out there. As this play develops, you see him lay it off and get himself kind of in a sneaky way. You see him sneaking around that back post. He's not marked. This ball comes in, and then you see him speed up, jump right in front of Davis. Should have been a goal. Should have been a goal. He knows it. He would have loved that opportunity as well.
Ching with 10 goals this year in Major League Soccer for San Jose. He knows how to finish.
You know, but he's never been put in this situation before, and the emotions that kid's going through right now, you just can't quantify. It's something that he has never. You think you can be prepared for it. You never are until you get out there and feel it.
This only his third appearance for the U.S. men's national team. Brian Ching, native of Hawaii. MLS Soccer Saturday goes to the West Coast this week. The Fire and the Galaxy Saturday, midnight Eastern on ESPN2. Donovan finding Frankie Haydick. Ching turning. Donovan lays it back off to him. Ian Goodison, your goal scorer in the 49th minute for Jamaica. Only Fabian Davis is playing with a yellow card so far. Bocanegra lets that one bounce and gets away with it. Vanny swipes it from Williams. Armas under pressure. Pokes it to Beasley. Has Donovan. Plays it back to Reyna. Again, Beasley getting fouled.
Great run by Ching. Almost getting on the end of that.
Beasley's been fouled numerous times tonight once he gets rid of the ball.
You can feel the urgency, the nervousness of the crowd even. But I think the urgency is now there with the Americans.
Haydick sends one in just over the top of Ching. If there is a weakness with Jamaica, it is in their back line. U.S. sees them as susceptible.
Well, they touched on it again and again, and you see Ching again putting himself in a pretty good spot. The cross wasn't there. That's not Frankie Haydick's best foot. He would much rather cross the ball with his right foot, but still, you're right, Rob. If there is a weakness, it's going to be an early ball, getting in behind the defense, trying to get Ching either on a knockdown to someone running onto it, or he's putting it in the back of the net himself. You can see these guys are frustrated. Frankie just wants to get this game going. At this point, honestly, as a player, this is a great thing for the United States to have a moment to get some water, collect yourself, have a few conversations with each other, remind each other, hey, guess what? We're here because we're great soccer players. Let's not get nervous. Let's get the job done.
As Claude Davis was on the field, stretcher comes out, you got to leave on it. So momentarily Jamaica will play a man down, but they could be making a substitution. Ricardo Fuller, who's listed as a forward, appears to be that man who would be coming on. which would be an interesting substitution, to say the least.
The United States right now, the biggest enemy is that clock. Just watching minutes go by.
24 minutes left in this one. Well, here's the sub. This makes more sense. Marlon King comes off for Ricardo Fuller. So it's a forward for a forward. Meanwhile, Claude Davis still off the field, trying to get back on. So Ricardo Fuller has had some knee problems recently, but knows how to score in England. 27 goals in 58 games for Preston North End.
Obviously, Preston being the spot where Eddie Lewis, the American, was playing right now. Those two are teammates, which is such a funny thing, because it's always such an advantage. Your coach can come to you and say, "You play with this guy. What's he like?" It doesn't happen all the time in international soccer.
This portion of the match presented by Gatorade, as Bruce Arena looks to be mulling his second sub. Kobe Jones is up. At first, here's a Jamaica chance. Hustling Chris Armas, pokes it back to Keller, who drills it out. Marshall across the field to Gardner. Kobe Jones will be coming in. The substitution card has been handed off.
I'm guessing it's Stewart.
A vet for a vet. Offside flag is up.
Well, this is what we were talking about, pushing the game. You know, Ernie's not the youngest guy out there. He's out there for his experience. Not the best game for Ernie Stewart, to say the least.
And it is Stewart coming off for Kobe Jones. Now, Kobe Jones was originally not even on this roster. Kansas City's Chris Klein suffered an ACL tear in his Saturday game, which forced Bruce Arena to call in Kobe Jones.
Yeah, Chris Klein had obviously had a very good game last time the United States visited Kingston, having a goal in a 2-1 victory. But you know, you're right, Rob. This is a game though where a guy like Kobe is so evaluated. He might be the guy that makes the play, and he's more capped than anybody. It's not like he needs to rely on experience. He knows exactly what to do in a game like this.
This is 161st international game. Here's Jones on the ball. He's had a quiet year in MLS that brings so much to the team. Hayden sends a dangerous ball that bounces. Nobody there on the far post, and finally a goal kick. Going back to Kobe Jones, he had only one appearance for the U.S. men's national team last year. That May 8th, a 0-0 tie in Houston versus Mexico. So since World Cup 2002,
you'll see that a lot, though. I think that there's a lot of guys that will help, and Kobe Jones might be one of them, who is the guy that you need that kind of experience to qualify. Once you get to the World Cup, believe it or not, it gets easier. Going through these kind of games is the hard part.
Keller plays one to Hayden. 70th minute. Ian Goodison with the goal early in the second half for Jamaica. U.S. trying to equalize and get a point on the road in World Cup qualifying. Here's Vanny. Donovan. Jones!
Unlucky. Very unlucky. You could see his thinking there, but this is pretty good work from the United States. It's the quickness of play, stretching the defense through DeMarcus Beasley, getting behind. They see how that ball just checks up. That's that better surface I was talking about. Vanny, quick pass through the middle, a little bit behind him. Kobe Jones doing the right thing, trying to pick out that far post. You got a 6'4" goalkeeper, you always shoot low. Unlucky not to get that on net.
7th U.S. shot this evening. Vanny spun around. Williams takes a spill and gets the late whistle. This portion of the match presented by Budweiser. Jamaica scored their only goal off of a set piece, that being a corner kick.
They're not in any hurry to get people forward or hurry up here. They love the fact that this clock is ticking down.
Ian Goodison, the intended target of that one. Brian Ching was on him. Eddie Pope, long ball down the left. That'll scamper out of bounds. So Marcus Beasley leading Team USA this year with 4 goals. Also leads the team in points, games played, and minutes played. Haydick slides that one away. Off his chest, and he continues with it. Huge work rate from Frankie Haydick as he becomes a right winger now.
DeMarcus Beasley is wide open.
Far post, looking for Beasley, but too much on it. We flash back now to the 49th minute. And this was a bad sight for Bruce Arena and Greg Bannick.
One mistake, you see it right there. It took a while for them to get the ball to the corner, but Brian McBride knows it. Both hands to the face. You can't let that guy go, because he will burn you. That's a big boy right there. A lot of experience. Those big guys, they dream about these kind of opportunities to score in games like this.
Goodison, 6'3". This is 124th international appearance for Jamaica. Just his 3rd international goal today. That one rolls under Armas. Bocanegra submarines to win it. And again, and Armas finally cleans it up. Not been much of a factor this second half. Imani Rao. As we revisit Bruce Arena's checklist, and not much, if anything, has gone according to plan.
Yeah, that quick start definitely did not happen. I think Jamaica did a really good job of controlling the first part of the game, and they controlled the game. Yeah, that's what that look of concern is about, because you want to be in a position to win. Now you're in a position where a tie looks real good.
In the 74th minute, down 1-0 on the road, the U.S. would be elated with the tie.
You know, there was a lot of talk the last couple of weeks about the United States has never lost. And they are definitely in a situation with the last 15 minutes of this game, if there's any extra, it could be more, to lose.
The U.S. has never been defeated by Jamaica. Toby Jones, work rate on the right side. Pope is there. Raynham mishandles it. Andy Williams. Wide to Davis. Davian Davis playing with a yellow card. Really a poor ball there by him. But it will be a deep throw-in for the U.S. Not an easy place to get out of.
But still, you look at Jamaica's attitude. They're going to drop. Instead of rushing into positions, they're just kind of walking over there to see if they can make something out of this and lock it in. They want time to run out on this game.
Haydick buys his team another 10 to 15 yards, slowly walking up the line to take that throw-in. Ching fighting for it, doesn't get it. Here comes Jamaica. That is one ugly-looking shot. That is by Ricardo Fuller. Quickly played, though, by the U.S. Vanny back to Bocanegra.
You can see Casey saying, let's get him out, let's get him out. See if they can get a knock off of Ching.
Claude Davis moves that one over Ching. Imani Rao, flag is up.
It always amazes me how that many people can't see the flag go up. But as this ball is played in, you can see he's got about a half a step. The linesman's in a perfect position to make the call. You notice how Eddie Pope kind of took a little peek over his left shoulder and made sure that he was offside.
This portion of the match presented by Gatorade. Greg Fanning. Haydick will step up, settle this one down for the States, and then drive one back in. Looking again for Ching. This will fall and be a deep throw-in for the U.S. Eddie Lewis is up off the bench and going to midfield, and he will become the 3rd sub for the U.S.
You know, you can see the look on Ching's face. He's a marked man now. He's had 2 headers. They're not going to let him be a free man anymore.
Landon Donovan. Hayden. Sent in by Hayden. Header just over the crossbar by Donovan. Rather Reyna.
You know, sneaking in there. That's a first quality cross we've seen in a while from Frankie Heduk. Very brave going up and getting his head on this one. Wasn't always that kind of player. Claudio Reyna has definitely brought another element to his game in his fit in England. You see the Phillips goal can catching that. Unlucky.
Eddie Lewis has just come on for Chris Armas. So your defensive midfielder is out.
Yeah, and Eddie Lewis is on the field to find Brian Ching. That's his job. His job is to put some quality crosses in there and make sure he finds somebody in front of the net from the left side.
This one's badly misplayed by Hayden. Twice. Brown trying to go far post, and Keller. Watch that one go just wide.
In the first half, Frankie Heduk went in on a tackle, and we both said, hey, what a great tackle. If you go in sometimes and miss, you put your team in a hole. This could have easily been a goal. Casey looked like he had it covered. You see again from the Phillips goal cam. That one's going wide. Casey knows it. But the urgency is down there. The United States is trying to crawl their way back into this game.
78th minute. Eddie Lewis with the throw-in for the U.S. At what point, Eric, does the U.S. scrap their 4-man back line?
They're going to let these next 5 minutes go. They see how many crosses they can get out of Eddie Lewis and go from there.
And a questionable throw-in call goes in the favor of the U.S.
Well, if you're from the United States, that's a great call.
Brian Ching in the box, turning, serving, out of bounds. Chris Armas, who just came off.
Not the best game for Chris. Not the best game at all. I think he started a little slow, gave the ball away a few times.
Who has played well today for the U.S. in your mind, Eric?
I think Beasley's done a pretty good job of getting behind the defense. I really think Brian McBride is going to look back on this and kick himself. And it wasn't that he played that poorly. It's just one play he clicked out. And the United States is down 1-0.
Landon Donovan just drilled into the Nike board.
Donovan, you gotta be kidding me.
How do you get nothing out of that? The board is down, bodies are down, yet there's no whistle.
You know, the U.S. players got to do a better job of protecting. They've got to go as a group. As you can see, Landon gets there first. And he just puts him right in the board. That, you know, it's not like it's a malicious foul. It's not that bad. It just looks awful. But those are the kind of situations. As a team, you've got to get in the referee's face. And you've got to say, hey, that was worse than you think it was. And if it happens again, there should be repercussions.
Well, the best way to strike back is by scoring a goal. Lewis to Vanny. Behind Beasley. Beasley pressuring, almost won that. Lewis with the step up. Ditto for Vanny, who's whistled for the foul there. Vanny starting to play a little more like a midfielder as the 4-man U.S. back line starts taking some chances.
He's pushing a little higher. He's frustrated. Not the smartest foul. The United States is trying to keep them pinned in their own end and try and get the ball in front of the net. Makes them. It's not the kind of game where the combination play is gonna be the secret. It's a game where you get the ball wide, you get bodies in front of the net, you utilize good crosses.
Eddie Pope wins that. Falls to Reyna. 81st minute. 1-0 Jamaica. This portion of the match presented by Phillips.
We've got little, I would say over 10 minutes left in this game. There's going to be a lot of fouls on Jamaica's end. They'll continue to foul and stop the rhythm of play.
Here's Donovan. Oh, brave tackle by Fabian Davis. he and Frankie Haydick must go to the same defending school in the offseason. That is off Jamaica, throwing for the U.S. And just thrown right to Jamaica. Excellent body work by Bocanegra to win it, but it's off of him, throw in for Jamaica.
And it's going to be another 30 seconds before this ball even gets into play. It's the kind of game now where at the Bruce Arena, you don't even look left, because that's where the clock is. Don't even look.
Pope back to Keller. Andy Williams, light pressure as Casey unloads it to midfield. Again, falls right to a reggae boy. Here's Bocanegra. Jones. Haven't seen much from him since coming off the bench in the second half. Lays one out to Haydick. Keeps it alive. Right about where Donovan got crunched into the boards. Haydick stops it. Lays it off to Beasley. Vanny making a run. Too much pace on that. Again, the United States has never lost to Jamaica in any competition, not just World Cup qualifying. I shouldn't say any competition, any men's national team competition in soccer. Bocanegra holding off his man Fuller. Late whistle as Fuller called for the foul. Vandy plays it quickly to Beasley. It's chopped by Tyrone Marshall right in front of the referee. There's Beasley. Vanny. Far post. Donovan plays it back in and out of bounds. After this game, the next World Cup qualifier for the red, white, and blue in Foxborough, Massachusetts, as they host El Salvador. Just 4 days after that, they're in Panama City, and then at El Salvador again. They face the blue and white for the second time in about a month.
I'll tell you one thing about this crowd from our view. When you look down at them, you can't see the back of their seats. Every single one of these fans has pushed their way and their butt all the way up to the front of their seat. They can't wait for this game to be over to erupt. And you can really feel like they've got a great chance to win.
Eddie Lewis with an opportunity. He is crunched in the box. No whistle. Lewis still down, as is Donovan Ricketts. We're going to have to watch this one again.
Well, Ricketts has been bothered by a bad back all week. Even if he's not hurt, he's going to stay there for a while.
Absolutely.
You see Claudio saying, come on, we know what he's doing.
Let's see if this should have been a foul on Ricketts. And if it was, it would have been a penalty kick opportunity for the States as Lewis comes up, trying to figure out where he is.
Cheng does a really good job. Good positioning. The flick gets in behind. Absolutely not. Good save.
Yep.
A little bit of a tug there on the shirt. But you know what? I got to say, Ricketts has been brave. Been brave today. You know, you don't see goalkeepers come flying out when you're 6'4". That's the last guy in the world you want to run into. But there was a play in the first half, and this play alone, some goalkeepers would have stayed on their line and given Eddie just another half of a second to get his head up and see where he was and maybe put it over the top of him or get a better shot. You really got to give it to Ricketts today. He has come up big, in my opinion, on 2 occasions that could have easily been goals for the United States.
He has had no qualms coming off his line.
When you're that big.
Yeah, why would you? That's linebacker.
It's not like you're never gonna hit anybody. You're the truck, they're the car. Yeah. What are you worried about?
Now, as time starts ticking away, we start kind of mentally adding up how much stoppage time will be added. You got to figure we're at a minimum 2, probably more 3-ish right about now. And you never know how a ref calls that and how they perceive things. And at this stage, the U.S. is going to need every minute.
I'm sure Claudio will be the guy that tells him that.
And he's
Claudio's
doing it right now.
in Spanish, which is a good thing. He understands exactly what Claudio's point is.
Again, a Costa Rican officiating crew. Turnover, here's Jamaica. Content to kind of knock it around midfield and work the clock. Fuller with Bocanegra on him. It'll be a throw-in for the home team.
You can just see Bruce, he's upset with Frankie Hayduk again. And I got to say, the quality on some of the crosses has been there from Frankie Hayduk, but there's been a couple of times where the pass wasn't there. And you can't do that in World Cup qualifying. You just can't.
It's never been Frankie's strong suit. He has improved on it.
You need that guy in your team. You need Frankie Hayduk on your team.
Not only on the field, but in the locker room as well. He's a great guy as far as team chemistry is concerned.
But he's an honest player. He's going to give you 100% all the time, and there's always going to be a pass. He's moved in a maybe more of a central role right now to make sure that Andy Williams doesn't get the ball in spots where he can dribble. But still, the quality on a couple of crosses, those ones that are 2 or 3 yards over someone's head, make all the difference sometimes.
U.S. unable to maintain any type of possession right now to try and get something started.
Well, the other thing is you can't back out of tackles at this point. I know DeMarcus isn't the biggest guy, but this isn't a time to back out of anything.
Kobe Jones turning it on, outletting one down the right side, intended for Brian Chink. Jamaica doing a real good job. We had questioned their defense. They played pretty solidly this evening so far. 1-0, 89th minute. Here is DeMarcus Beasley. Give and go to Kobe Jones. Runs are being made. Ball is flighted. Donovan has it. Lays it on. Ching on his right. Fires and scores! Kingston has gone quiet. We're tied at 1.
Oh, talk about a dagger. Just a dagger through the heart of everybody in this stadium.
His first international goal, and it's the San Jose duo combining.
You know, we said it before. We talked about quality of crosses. That's quality right there. Gets in a good spot. Ching putting this high. You know, I mean, when the guy goes down, having the presence of mind to get this in the upper corner, I'm telling you, Brian Ching's a goal scorer. Flat out, he's a goal scorer.
Kobe Jones started a defensive miscue there, and Ching makes them pay. The U.S. was this close to not getting anything out of this road trip. Now they are in a position, and let's say it, to steal a point.
You know what? I said a minute ago that we could see the back of those seats. Everybody's leaning back now.
Well, now let's see how the U.S. does, because you got to figure the U.S. is going to be sitting back and working that clock. Now the U.S. doesn't want so much injury time. Or, Eric, do they push and try and steal 3 points rather than 1?
You know, I think the way this game has gone, the way the defensive adjustments that they have made, it's not the smartest thing to push the game. You're back in that conservative mode where if something happens, great. It's a great thing, but don't have to really push the game.
Here's Eddie Lewis settling in the box. And then loses it. 2 minutes of stoppage time have been added, which is a little low, to be honest. Bocanegra flights one back in. Eddie Lewis is in an offside position. That's why he did not make an attempt at that. Brian Ching with a heartbreaking goal if you're a Jamaican supporter.
Well, I mean, what the United States has done now is Claudio Reyna has gone back to that defensive midfield role. The back four has gotten their shape again, and they're going to try and lock it up and make it hard for them to play. But they'll lump it forward and just hope that they can get a knockdown and make something happen.
friends at NFL Live coming up next. We'll be going to them once this game is over. Just over a minute left from our live coverage in Kingston, Jamaica. That is Brian Ching, the only Hawaiian to ever represent the U.S. men's national team, and he has scored a massive goal tonight in just his third ever U.S. appearance.
We were talking about it before the game, and he said it would be, he used that cliche, it would be a dream come true to get in the game. He wasn't even thinking about scoring yet. Time to find a new dream. This one came true. What a big goal. That's a huge goal for the United States.
Claudio Reyna will take this corner kick, and he'll do the smart thing, work the clock down so low that they get one chance out of it, and that's it. Why not take a little gamble right now? Vanny to Jones. He started the U.S. goal just a few minutes ago. Here he is with the first. Service, far post. Falls to DeMarcus Beasley. Settles. Lays it off. Reyna lets one rip on frame right at Ricketts, who again had a bobble. That was a quick whistle, as Ching was there should that ball have dropped. Again, they said 2 minutes of stoppage time. We're at 2 minutes.
That's a good strike. Got a lot on it. Unfortunately, right at him.
And that is all she wrote. What a conclusion. Spiked by that man, your Chevrolet man of the match, Brian Ching of the San Jose Earthquakes. His first international goal coming in the 89th minute. We'll be back to wrap this one up as the U.S. remains unbeaten versus Jamaica. 1-1 your final.